Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Christopher with the National Service here in Slidell. I was going to do a real quick radio check, and then we'll get started. If I can get any feedback, if you can hear me, I'd appreciate it. We are both on Facebook Live and YouTube. Okay, thank you, Amy. So sounds like the microphone is working. I really don't want to take too long because there is a possibility that we may have to take cover because of tornado warnings that we're issuing. We'll go ahead and get started real quick. Thank you again for joining us. My name is Christopher here in the Slidell National Weather Service office. It has been a heck of a day already, and we've got a very long night still ahead. Real quick, the first update I want to go over is our radar. As you can see, there is Hurricane Ida. Right now, it is moving almost due north now, and it's been relatively slow. In the last 6 hours, it's moved less than 50 miles. So it is bringing prolonged hurricane conditions across much of the South Shore. But now that very expansive wind field is also causing strong tropical storm force with hurricane gust almost to Biloxi. We've already had wind gust 53 miles an hour. Gulfport, we've had sustained winds right there off the coast of greater than 60 miles an hour and higher wind speeds, so higher gust. The Mandeville Ob has had a wind gust of 75 miles an hour. The Mid-Lake Ob is actually sustained at almost hurricane force. We're sustained about 64 with gust up to 86 in the middle of the lake. Those winds are only going to get stronger. Same goes for much of the New Orleans metro area, where winds are either sustained at hurricane force or in the the high-end tropical storm force winds with gusts that are near 100, if not over 100 in many areas. Again, earlier we've had gusts anywhere from 153 near Port Fourchon to 138, almost 140 at Duloc. Over 100 at Homa, over 120 in Galliano. Numerous observations have stopped coming in because they are down, either power or broken. And we continue to see these wind gusts just expand across all of our area. So real quick, the biggest concern that is right now for us is these tornado warnings. Again, I may have to get off real quick if I have to take cover from a tornado. Here's our office. Let me draw that real quick. Our office is right here. However, again, I'll put it on this one as well if you can see. Boy, it's awfully thin. I apologize. I wonder if I can make it a little bit bigger. I don't think that's going to work. So I do apologize about that. It looks like the area of concern right now is this section right there. That is actually going to be moving towards our radar. It may go just east of us, kind of keeping a close eye on it, but those are the circulations that we're concerned with and may have to take cover. And if that's the case, the Jacksonville, Florida office would actually back us up just long enough for us to possibly get back on. They're also kind of on the cusp of having to back us up if we go down and lose communications. So, and if you look at, you know what, I apologize, you haven't been seeing my radar. It shows I've done this a few less times than Kevin has. Again, that triangle right there, this is the storm we're concerned with from a standpoint of a tornado. That is the one that may move towards our office right now. You can see the trajectory it's on. Here's our radar. This is where we are basically stationed. If it gets a little bit closer, we will have to take cover, get into our safe spot like everyone else should. But again, I mean, that's not just us. This is going to be moving over a lot of areas of Slidell. It's going to be crossing over I-10 and I-12. So if you're in Slidell, Pearl River, by the airport, be prepared to take cover now. It looks like this still looks very strong from a reflectivity standpoint. My radar right now is not really working great from a standpoint of, on this program at least. From a velocity standpoint, the reason is because the winds are so strong, the radar is having a very difficult time deciding if those winds are inbound or outbound because of how strong they are. Winds are still well over 100 miles an hour, only about 1,000 to 2,000 feet up off the ground in this area, so it's not taking much to mix down. If I click on the mobile radar, I may be able to get a better idea, but the problem we're going to have is it's probably going to be shooting too high, and I won't be able to see the circulation with it because that circulation is going to be relatively close to the ground. So as our internet's been a little slow trying to get the mobile radar to show up, I'll go back to it right now. So let's go back to Hurricane Ida, and why did there we go. Hurricane Ida, there it is. You can see it's finally starting to weaken some. The eye is clouding up now, but still has a very good core to it. Look at the band of really cold cloud tops all around. This is all heavy rain, very heavy rain, and very strong winds. This is now starting to impact most of pretty much all the New Orleans metro area, but now starting to get into areas north of I-10. So Livingston Parish, St. Tammany Parish, Tangipahoa Parish, possibly even starting to impact East Baton Rouge Parish in the next hour or two. We've already seen wind gusts near 60 miles an hour here at the office. Coastal Mississippi has already had wind gusts that are over 60 miles an hour. Again, that Mandeville Ob, that's right there on the lake, has had a gust of 75. So look for that to continue to increase over the next few hours, with the peak winds likely occurring across the North Shore between basically 7:30 and 10 o'clock tonight. A lot's going to depend on how fast this storm moves. It's not moving very fast. That also means the rainfall potential is still very much in play, and the very slow movement of this storm is just going to lead to more rain. And so that's something we're going to have to keep a close eye on. We're going to be dealing with that all night long. So quickly, I want to go so I can pull some of these tides real quick. My mouse. Where's my mouse? There it is. I'm hoping the internet isn't down, because there is a good chance that we may be going down, because everywhere is losing power. Power outages are abundant across most of southeast Louisiana and coastal Mississippi. That could be a big concern. Let's see, did my radar ever come back up? Yeah, it did come back up at least. Okay, so the radar here so hopefully that page can load. We'll look at the radar. Obviously, like I mentioned, because we're shooting so high up on the mobile radar, I'm not seeing the storms that are concerning us from a standpoint of tornadoes. However, these other storms all show some weak rotation with them, especially these ones a little bit further out. We're going to have to keep an eye on these, because that's going to move into coastal Mississippi, which therefore could bring additional heavy rain, strong winds, and tornadoes. So we have to keep a close eye on these storms as well. They have the best chance of producing tornadoes. See if I can go back to my radar. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I would like to see if how that rotation is looking now. There we go. Let's see if we can look at some of our tide gauges, because this is going to be the other big issue we're watching really closely. So here is Mandeville. If we'll try to zoom in for you here. Let's see. Control. There we go. So you can see Mandeville is shooting up again. It's already at 4.4 feet on the gauge. It is not going to go down. It is for a while. It's going to continue to go up. Look for these values to easily get to 6, 7, possibly even higher at Mandeville. Going a little bit further to the west across Lake Pontchartrain, here is Madisonville at Chafuncta. That's already approaching 5 feet. These areas of northwest Lake Pontchartrain and going into possibly Maurepas are probably going to have the areas that have the highest tides inside that lake. So this is going to be the problem area, especially tonight. Tangipahoa, Southwest St. Tammany parishes. Looking at the Ponchatoula area, but this is basically the pass to Lake Maurepas. It's dropped down, but I don't think that is because the lake is going down. I think that has an issue with either water getting through right now, or it could be damaged, because it looks like we're not getting a lot of reports all of a sudden. So there could be some problems there. They've actually had much stronger winds in this area. I don't have the point on here because it's a different gauge, but the Frenier Landing has had sustained winds of around, I believe, 64. It may have been 62 miles an hour, but I think it was 64, but it has had wind gusts over 80. I believe the highest wind gust I've seen right now is 84 at Frenier Landing. The other gauge, like Lakefront down here, has had wind gusts into the 80s. Now, Bayou Bienvenue, which is a much higher up gauge, has had wind gusts of about, I think it was 99 miles an hour, so right around 100 miles an hour, sustained winds of hurricane force. Granted, it is higher up, but that just shows you doesn't take much to get to those winds, and they're not going to have a problem mixing down when you start getting some of these heavier rain. So wind gusts of 100 miles an hour across all of New Orleans Metro. And as you heard, that is another tornado warning, likely for me. So I can turn that off. I apologize about that, but that is the WEA. That is the wireless emergency alert. That obviously is another warning that in base I am within, and you can see that is the warning. The larger warning right there, that is for that rain band that we've been watching. Trying to see off of the radar. Trust me, our velocity image looks a lot better on our computers, on our workstations in the office. At some point, we'll be able to show you those workstations in the future. But as you can see, this is a very strong rotation down here. This is in the coastal waters. It is approaching Hancock County, and that could impact areas like Ansley, Pearlington. If you are in those areas and you haven't evacuated, take cover now. There is a good chance that you're going to get a tornado, or at least very strong winds from this. You're looking at winds at easily 90 miles an hour, possibly even 100 miles an hour, just from this little circulation here or storm. It doesn't even have to be a tornado. It's going to mix these winds down. There will be damage with it. The other area that we're watching is this one up here. It's really close to the radar, which now makes it difficult to see. There's a lot of noise. It looks like it may go just north of our office, which is good. But if you're on the St. Joe or just south of Pearl River, please take cover. That could produce a tornado, and it could be very quick. So take cover. Make sure you continue to have a way to get to your warning. I know a lot of you probably do not have power. There is power out all across the area. Hopefully you have charged your batteries. Hopefully your cell phones are charged so you can still get the messages. If you have internet access, you can still listen to us or any of the other local media sources. They are going to get that information out to you. So please have a means of getting information right now. It is going to be a very long night for us. Watch it, man. This is a very impressive little circulation right here. Again, if you can hear me and you are anywhere in southwestern Hancock County, take cover now. This is going to move through. It's going to move through very fast too. If I can pull this up, I'll be able to tell you what the winds, the movement is. Yeah, those storms, those small little showers, because there's really no lightning with it. Those showers with rotation, they're moving to the northwest at 65 miles an hour. So they're going almost the speed that you travel on the interstates. They are hauling. So it's going to get to you really quick. So please take cover. Continue to watch for any other warnings that may occur. All of these little storms down here all are exhibiting some type of rotation, and they could easily put down a really quick tornado. We got to watch it. Also, these areas right here, these are all areas that have very heavy rainfall. I know we had put out that flash flood emergency near the Braithwaite area because the levee was starting to be overtopped. It wasn't breached and it wasn't failing, but it was overtopping. So as a precaution, the parish got the emergency message out, and then we issued the flash flood emergency for that area. Well, it was a very small area, and you can see it on my map. It's this one right here. So all it takes is like this band right there or this band to set over there, and that's a lot of rainfall now adding on. Now my radar figured out the velocity a little bit better here. Now you can see all these areas of circulation. Again, this is probably the most impressive one I've seen so far today, and it is quickly moving on shore. We've already had confirmation of at least one visually sighted tornado that even a local, I believe WLOX crew who saw it on coastal Mississippi. There was another storm earlier. We had a tornado warning. Luckily, it wasn't really around anything, but our radar suggested that a tornado had occurred along the border of Harrison and Hancock County. And then we continue to watch all these storms. They all are exhibiting some type of rotation. And again, even if they don't produce a tornado, they're going to be able to bring down the wind. Those are the showers or the storms that have the best chance of bringing down the very high wind. And if you look right here, this storm right here is showing winds of over 100 miles an hour. It looks like it's about 103 to almost 105. So, and that is only about 2,000 to 3,000 feet up. Looking at this one, this is actually really good. Now there goes my radar. It's struggling to read it because of how strong the wind is. That is a big shift between these winds right here, which is easily now, that is 105 miles an hour, maybe even stronger in this little section here, and that is only 1,400 feet above the surface. It's not going to take much to get that down. But that wind of 105 to just under 110 next to this area of wind that is only about 42 to 45 miles an hour, you can just see the slower wind here. This is catching up. That is gonna cause a rotation by itself, just because it's what we call a speed shear. So this, even if it doesn't drop a tornado, it's going to produce pretty significant damage. So please, again, if you are in southwestern portions of Hancock County and then across the border into St. Tammany Parish, take cover now. Possible tornadoes coming there or enhanced wind damage. Going back to some of our tide gauges earlier, because we got disrupted because of the warning. So going back to our tide gauges here again, coastal Mississippi, as I mentioned earlier, the tides ramped up really quick. They started to slow back down, and then it, as expected, turned around and started going back up. Wave wind's been bumping back and forth. It's probably because of each of these storms and these bands. With each band, it's going to push it up. Well, it's already been going back up, and you can see that we still have high tide way out over here. High tide's in this area. So we've got a long way to go before we get to high tide. That is going to occur sometime, again, like around, I believe, 11:30 of the night. This tide is going to go up. It will get above 7.5 feet. It very well could approach 10 feet. We're going to have to watch this closely. The strong winds are going to push this water back in, and then you add on the 2 feet of rise just from the tide itself. Let's check out another site real quick. I know Shell Beach was a problem earlier. The issue here is that because the wind direction, it's not going to maximize the surge here, which is great. However, even it's at low tide, it's already started to bump back up. We'll see if that's just a temporary bump or if it's actually starting to go back up. It should go back up anyway because of the tide cycle. We're going to start going to high tide. High tide's going to be, looks like, at 2:30 tonight. So you're going to be having rises at Shell Beach well past 2:30 now tonight. So where it is right now, it is likely going to continue to rise. It will get above this value. Again, the only thing that's really kind of hurting it, which is good for us, is that the wind is not coming out of the northeast, it's coming out of the south. So, but it's going to be pushing water all across the rest of St. Bernard Parish. St. Bernard Parish did pull up our Twitter account earlier. They had reported some significant flooding in Delacroix area. I don't have that. However, what I do want to show you in our Twitter account, this is Laplace. So as you can see, the pressure is down to 982 millibars here, and the water from the lake is just pushing into St. John the Baptist Parish and the area of Laplace. If you were there for Isaac, you remember how bad that got. I'm not saying that's the same thing that's going to happen here. It's just people do remember that, and it can happen. As you can see in this other tweet right here, this image, this is also from Laplace. So this is that water from the lake is just pushing in. It is surging into the area. If I can find a gauge that actually shows that. The problem is the gauge down here I don't believe is reading the water. Yes, it is not. However, what you can do is you can see mid-lake. The mid-lake gauge basically is just showing you the lake itself, the whole lake, because it's in the middle of the lake. So the lake is rising. And look at that jump. That jump all the way up to 5.3. The lake is rising rapidly. So with all that water is all going to go to the northwest. Baton Rouge area. Right now, it's starting to slowly get worse. Just talked with my parents. It's starting to get a little breezy, gusty over there. There's probably sporadic power outages I haven't seen. I haven't dug into it. I got a little busy. I was trying to, with the local media over there at all the stations, try to find out how much power outages is already occurring. We are highly expecting the conditions to continue to deteriorate from here through about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then things should start to slowly improve. There is a good chance you could go under that western eye wall If I could pull up my radar real quick. The good thing is that you see here's the eye of Ida, but it's definitely that eye wall, that western eye wall is not anywhere as strong as it was earlier. However, I do want to make this clear. It doesn't look like the hurricane is technically weakening fast. The problem we have now is that it is raining so hard over our radar. It's called attenuation, and because the radar is becoming water soaked, it's starting to get back less of a return. Besides that, if I stop my radar real quick, just think about it. If I'm shooting a beam from here, pull up, from here all the way down to the eye of Ida, it has to go through each of these bands. So all of those bands are returning energy back to the radar. So it's already shooting a little bit higher up, and it's much weaker with less of a return over here. So it's not necessarily this weak. That is not the case at all. It's just it's not able to send back enough power to the radar because it's already got all of these storms and showers that it is hitting. So do not look at this radar and think, oh, cool, I'm good in Thibodeau. I'm good in Lutcher. I'm good in Ascension Parish or Livingston Parish. But no, not at any chance. You are still going to see winds 60, maybe sustained to 80 miles an hour with gusts up to 100, probably through St. James Parish and probably even into Ascension Parish, because this northwestern portion of the eye wall is still very strong. Baton Rouge, you're probably looking more up now, it looks like with it moving more north recently, you may be able to stay out of that eye wall, so winds could be more sustained at times, around 50, 60 miles an hour, maybe like the extreme southeastern portions of the parish, may be sustained around 70 miles an hour. That said, there's still the potential for gust. Any of these rain bands that are able to wrap around, they're going to bring down wind that could even approach 100 miles an hour. If I was to pull up and look at my radar, even over here, I've got winds, that are it's 105 miles an hour, only about 3,800 feet off the ground, and that's near French Settlement. So you're not that far from East Baton Rouge Parish. So the winds could mix down with some of these stronger rain bands. If it slides back to the west a little bit, then you could get right back into that western eye wall, and then you will see sporadic wind gusts of 100 miles an hour in the area. So look for widespread power outages across the Baton Rouge metro area, and especially east. Look for widespread tree damage. Livingston Parish, those conditions, but worse. Not only do you have to worry about that, but also all the surge that's being pushed in Lake Maurepas, it's going to push into Livingston Parish. We're looking for winds that are easily sustained at 50 to 70 miles an hour at times, maybe even high as 80 miles an hour across basically the southeastern half of the parish, depending on the track of the eye, maybe even a little bit more. But you're also going to see winds. You're going to see the possibility of winds approaching wind gusts approaching 100 miles an hour across the entire parish. Wind speed of that is going to take down trees everywhere. It's going to take down power across most of the parish. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for a long night. Also be prepared for very heavy rain. You're already getting very heavy rain. You got more rain moving in, and then you've got the northern eye wall, and all of this rain is trying to move into the area. The slow movement of this storm is now increasing our rain threats. It is fairly likely we're going to have an area that has 15 to 20 inches with locally higher amounts, possibly even approaching 30 inches. Where that occurs is the question. I think we're starting to feel a little bit more confident that this area, if I could draw real quick, this area in here will be, and that includes Pearl River, Hancock County. This will be the area that probably gets the heaviest rain. Maybe a little bit, I drew this a little bit too far east. You could also see Tangipahoa Parish, absolutely, by all means. So don't take that circle I just drew verbatim. From about I-55 east through Pearl River and Hancock County is the area that we are really anticipating the heaviest rain. That also includes the South Shore. This rain coming down right now in St. John the Baptist, St. Charles parishes is extremely heavy and likely just causing more problems along with the surge that is pushing in from the lake into St. John the Baptist Parish, and the surge that pushed in from Barataria Bay into St. Charles Parish. Last thing is conditions are finally starting to improve now down in Lower Terrebonne, Lower Lafourche parishes, Grand Isle. A lot of these obs, we haven't been getting obs now because obviously the power or damage. However, we were still getting gusts that were near 90 miles an hour from the University of Florida's tower, deployable tower that they have down there in Galliano. That wasn't too long ago, so there were still some really strong gusts at times. It looks like the wind should really be slacking off some now. Still going to be damaging, but you're not looking at those extreme winds we had earlier. Houma is still very windy right now, but conditions should start to improve in the next few hours. And then you're looking at steady wind gusts throughout the night, but just slowly decreasing, and possible additional heavy rain. Moving up St. James Parish, you're going to be in this for the next few hours at least. And then as we get closer to midnight tonight, maybe even as early as 10 o'clock, things should really start to taper off some. Thibodaux conditions should start to improve in the next hour or two, but you're still going to be with damaging winds and heavy rain right now. A lot of these areas up in the North Shore and across the New Orleans metro, you're in for a very long night. It's not going to get better. New Orleans, not only with all the wind damage you've already had, you've also you're going to have to worry about the rainfall. We do have the flash flood warnings out right now across all of the New Orleans metro. We have the flash flood warning out across most of St. Tammany Parish. These heavy rains are just now starting, and they're going to continue through the night. We'll see how many bands are zoomed out, how many bands can move over New Orleans area, Jefferson Parish, St. Charles Parish. These areas are going to get very heavy rain. The pumps are going to struggle. Coastal Mississippi, you're going to be dealing with heavy rain, gusty winds, especially close to the coast. These winds off the water are extremely strong right now. Multiple wind gusts right along the coast, 60, 70 miles an hour occurring. This is going to lead to widespread power outages, maybe some light structural damage in areas, but a lot of tree damage. But the other issue you've got is you're going to be under the gun for tornadoes most of the night. So please have a way to receive alerts if you've lost power. Have a way that will wake you up in the middle of the night if we have to issue tornado warnings for your area. So the latest update from the Hurricane Center, real quick before we sign off for now, was at 4 p.m. Actually, it's 7 p.m. So if I refresh, it should have the new 7 p.m. update. There we go. And even with the 7 p.m. update, you can see the sustained winds are still 120 miles an hour. This is still a Category 3, and it's a strong hurricane, still a major hurricane. And they've got it still, again, it's going to be moving towards the Baton Rouge area. So areas of southwest Mississippi, you're going to see damaging winds, widespread power outages, probably widespread tree damage overnight tonight when most people are probably trying to go to sleep. Again, make sure you have a way to receive warnings. Make sure you're in a safe area. If you're around a lot of trees, you have time right now. See if there's somewhere else you can go. These trees are going to come down with these strong winds, and again, that's why we issued the hurricane warning for southwest Mississippi. They were under tropical storm warning, but given the strength of Ida, it's holding its core and it's moving into that area. The coordination with the Hurricane Center, with the Jackson, Mississippi office, we decided to go with a hurricane warning for southwest Mississippi. That just shows you the potential. It may not be sustained wind speeds, but wind gusts of 70, 80, and even if you get wind gusts up to 90 miles an hour, that's going to cause widespread damage. So if you're in areas, and that area is heavily forested, you live in a house or a trailer that's near a lot of tall trees, see if there's somewhere else you can go to spend the night, because this is going to occur overnight tonight. Nothing else has really changed. They did back down some of these surge values, mainly from the mouth of the Pearl River to
Morgan City went to 7 to 11. Still think some of these values should not have a problem getting to 11 feet. They've backed it down to 3 to 5 feet all the way to Ocean Springs, and 4 to 7 from Bay St. Louis to Ocean Springs. If I pull up some of the gauges, curious to see what the gauges look like. Let's pull up. I know Pascagoula's got a good gauge. So the Pascagoula gauge right now is sitting at 2.9 feet, and that is 2.9 feet of surge right now. So it's already 3 feet of surge, but it was supposed to be at 0.7, so it's actually 3.5 feet higher than where it's supposed to be right now. You can see here's high tide. High tide is at 10:15 tonight, and it's going to rise. It looks like about another foot, maybe. Yeah, about another foot. So just the tidal rise itself is going to bring this to close to 4 feet, and then with whatever strong winds continues to push it up, it may approach 6 feet at Pascagoula. So coastal Mississippi, long night for you as well. The issue with the high tides is also going to mean that the rainfall is not going to be able to drain. So leave you with that right now. It is getting dark, so it's going to be harder to see. Again, please make sure you have a way to receive warnings. Make sure you have a place to go if you do get a warning. Do not let your guard down. This is not over. This is going to be a long night for quite a bit of people tonight. The only good news right now is that conditions are starting to slowly improve now across the south of coastal Louisiana. However, the New Orleans area, the North Shore areas, they're just now getting into it and increasing, or they're in the thick of it, like the New Orleans metro area. Coastal Mississippi, the conditions they've been seeing for the last few hours, you're going to see that for the next 6 hours likely. Same across the North Shore, and it's actually going to get worse on the North Shore with that eye wall approaching now. And then across all, like the Baton Rouge metro, look for things to start going downhill in the next hour. And then across southwest Mississippi, conditions are going to start to deteriorate probably near midnight and then throughout the overnight hours. Probably the worst time frame to start seeing damaging winds and very heavy rain. So thanks again for joining us. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, share the YouTube video. If you get any reports, send us the reports. I would love to hear. But first and foremost, everybody please stay safe, and we will talk to you again possibly later tonight.